Welcome, Hawk fans. Welcome to another episode of Hawk Talk. I am your host, Colin Cole, and we have another exciting show here for you. I'm joined with my resident guest host, the two-time All Big Ten, the three-year starter at right tackle, Mr. David Porter. David, thank you for joining us for the show today.
Hey, it's great. It's always great to be here. We got a great game coming up to talk about. I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, as we know, the Hawks travel this weekend to what is that? West Lafayette, Indiana, to go take on the Purdue Boilermakers. The Boilermakers have had a bit of a difficult season as well. They actually sit at a 4-4 mark, just like the Hawks do, and they're led by quarterback Aiden O'Connell, who's passed for 2,270 yards. 15 touchdowns, but he's also thrown 8 interceptions. So he is a gunslinger. He's a gunslinger. He actually leads the conference currently in passing yards. I'm sorry, doesn't lead it. He's second in the conference currently in passing yards with 2,270 yards, like I just mentioned. So he's going to be obviously one of the key factors to the game. As we all know, who are Hawk fans, Hawkeyes, we lost a couple of guys to the transfer portal, one of which is Purdue's leading receiver, Mr. Charlie Jones, who was last year's Big Ten returner of the year. Charlie took his talents over to West Lafayette to play for the Purdue Boilermakers, and he actually sits at 840 total yards currently with 72 receptions. So he's had a career season, and let's not forget the 9 touchdowns that he's brought to the table for this Boilermaker attack this season. Tremendous athletes. He made the decision for himself to leave the University of Iowa, obviously, to pursue what he felt like was the best opportunity for himself. And it's hard to argue it because of the production that he's had this season. He and Aiden O'Connell, excuse me. I understand have played since Little League and have had this connection for a number of years. So he fit right in with that Purdue offense and has done a tremendous job. Speaking of receivers, we'll just jump into them. They have Payne Durham, TJ Sheffield, Mershawn Rice, Tyrone Tracy, as we all, as Hawk fans, know, who burst onto the Hawkeye scene a couple of years ago as a true freshman, contributing throughout his career as a Hawkeye. He also, obviously, like we mentioned, over there with the Boilermakers. So a tough receiving core led by Charlie Jones. Payne Durham is a huge target for the Boilermakers at tight end. He actually is 6'5" out of Sewanee, Georgia. That young man I saw make some pretty good plays in the film that I watched on those guys. So he's going to be a downfield threat. He's going to be a threat regardless of where he lines up. Right? It's going to have to do all he can to take him away in the passing game, as well as what he brings and contributes in the running game. Now, speaking of running game, David, these Purdue Boilermakers have been historically a pass happy, pass first, pass again, pass then some, pass some more type of offense, but they actually have a rusher in Devin McCoby who has 103 carries for 561 yards and 6 touchdowns. Dylan Downing behind him has an additional 249 yards and 4 touchdowns. So those guys, let's not forget King Doru. He actually has an additional 90, just 97 yards, but he actually has 3 touchdowns that he's rushed for in this season. So they have 3 guys that are very capable, have done a tremendous job, and gotten the ball in their hands and made plays. Let's not forget Tyrone Tracy. He was Mr. Do Everything for the Hawks. He's brought those talents over to the Boilermakers. He's both catching and receiving, both in the backfield and at the receiver's position. So tremendous core group of playmakers on the outside for this Purdue Boilermaker offense. Aiden O'Connell has been tremendous throughout the season, second in the Big Ten only to C.J. Stroud of Ohio State in passing yards. So Hawkeyes got a huge task that they got to play up against this upcoming weekend, and we know historically, I should say, we should say, most recently have had a very hard time getting past this team, have not been able to mount any W's against this Purdue Boilermaker team. So what do the Hawkeyes have to do? They're double digits underdogs going into West Lafayette. David, what do the Hawks got to do to take this W?
It's the same thing we did against Northwestern, right? We're looking at establishing the run and getting that going so that it'll open up the passing. We get that old line to be sticky on those the pass rushers. and actually give Spencer a pocket. He has the tools to actually pass the ball and get it going. We definitely need to get our offense going because, as you have been talking about, Purdue's offense is actually pretty potent. All right, Charlie Jones, I believe we were talking about this earlier. He's the leading receiver in the Big Ten, right?
Mm-hmm.
So these guys know what they're doing. The quarterback and Charlie both played in high school. Now they're playing in college. That connection seems to be authentic, and it seems to be very potent. I know the coaches at Purdue are quite happy that they got him over there. So Aiden O'Connell, that guy there, he can light it up. I saw him play a couple times. I watched some of the film. Wisconsin, I know he struggled there quite a bit. He threw, I think it was like 2 or 3 interceptions in that game, and that was probably his worst outing yet. But that is also the last game that they played before the bye week. So we do need to like really jump on these guys. Hopefully they're a little rusty, but if we get our offense to start fast like they did against Northwestern, and we get our defense to play stout like they did before, then we can really start to see this thing start to unfold. And I know we're all talking because we saw glimmers of hope in that last outing we had against Northwestern. Say, hey, this is great. This is what we want to see. We want to see that continue, right? Continue that fast start. Get that offense out there. Hey, I don't know if we score on our first possession with a field goal or a touchdown, but we just need to know we're going to score, right? Get that going. Get our defense out there. Go to 3 and out, and then get it back to our offense. And give us a short field if we can do that. That's what we want to do. So get going fast. That's going to be a key, and getting the running game going and the whole line. That's how it goes on offense. So as it has been pretty much this whole season, the defense is going to do what they're going to do. We're going to need our offense to step up and really start to, I'll call it, pull their weight.
Okay. Well, this is opportunity. Every Saturday is an opportunity. This is the next opponent. 4 left in the season, and 4 to get 2. They need 2 to get bowl eligible. So this is the opportunity. Let's flip it over to Purdue's defense. They're led in tackles by safety Sanose Kane, and second by Cam Allen. The third tackler on their team is Jalen Graham. He's a linebacker. Those young men in the secondary are their leading tacklers, which means to me, David, that a lot of runs and a lot of plays get into their secondary. For your 2 safeties to be your leading tacklers and not your linebackers, that means that the ball is getting to the back end rather quickly. And it actually happened. I watched it happen in Penn State. Wisconsin kind of had their number. So This defense has been kind of porous throughout the season. We know the Hawk offense. We don't have to too much into the statistics and all that good stuff. This Hawkeye offense has had a tremendous outing against the Northwestern Wildcats. You talked about what they need to do to get better against this Purdue Boilermakers defense. What kind of stuff do you anticipate Brian Ferentz going back to the drawing board to create with matchups, or I should say, with opportunities for this offense to score? What does it come from, and how do they keep the ball rolling from the momentum they had against Northwestern?
Like, it's going to be starting with the run, and like you said, the secondary for Purdue, their secondary is really their leading receivers, and that does not bode well for any defense. It really doesn't. You want your linebackers, your front 7 being your lead tacklers. Like we saw them with what you said, the Penn State. I saw it with the Wisconsin game. They were breaking runs out there, popping through the holes, and I could see where they were getting out there. If Iowa can do the same thing, they'll have similar results. This defense has does have a propensity to give up a big run and a big pass. So it just becomes, does our offensive line in particular, protect our quarterback in the pass and create holes in the run game? Just get some movement so that our guys, our skill players, can actually do what they do. And with this defense, the way they move, I would expect a lot of blitzing, a lot of twists, the same thing they've done with us for a number of years, the same thing we saw last year. They're going to be, their defensive ends are always fast. They're always well trained, well coached, and they're going to come out there and play really hard. They're really hard. So our guys need to be prepared for that. I don't know if we do some play action pass to get these guys off, but that comes off with the run, establishing that. But Brian definitely has his hands full with this one, like he has all season. I'm hoping the best for this offense that we have here. But when I look at the stats here, it's kind of daunting. I mean, we're for passing yards for the entire season, where I think we're at 1,241. When you look at Purdue's, they're 2,514. I mean, they're double our production just on yards alone. And when you get over to the TD side for passing, I was looking at 3, or just total offense. We're looking at 3 for the season. Purdue has 18. So that's a 600% increase. I mean, that's a big number. That's a big thing to overcome. You know, their starting receiver, or their star receiver, Charlie Jones, he's at 840 yards with 9 touchdowns. Ours is Sam Laporta. He's at 387 yards, and he doesn't have any touchdowns. Now we are really fighting a battle right now of attrition. Can we stick it out as long as we can so that our defense creates a turnover, get our offense going, and hopefully, you know, we got who's running back? He's starting. Who is LaShawn starting this week?
No, Gavin Williams is slated as the starter for this week's game.
Gavin is.
Yeah, the updated roster came out, and yes, Gavin Williams was followed by LaShawn Williams, followed by Caleb Johnson.
What happened to our?
I don't know what happened with Caleb Johnson. He was a rusher last week. No, I don't know. He was a leading rusher last week, but he's now, according to the game day roster, the depth chart, he's Caleb Johnson is third. And those other two gentlemen, Gavin Williams first, LaShawn Williams second.
Okay. All right. We're new territory. We're going to do the stable of running backs and just rotate them through that. Okay.
That's been Iowa's MO for a number of years now with the offensive line play. Just line up the next guy in the stable of backs and give them opportunity to run. We've seen a number of backup running backs have career days throughout their Hawkeye career. So, you know, I don't know what the call is in terms of why it is that he was moved back on the depth chart, but that's just what it is. Coach Ferentz is the one that's in charge of making those decisions, as well as him getting paid the big bucks to do so. So we're here. We're the ones to hear and sit here and talk about it, which is weird doing. So David, what does it take? I mean, we talked about that in terms of what the production was, man. So in terms of how these two teams match up, the Hawks have a daunting task in front of them. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
Defensively, huge matchup, specifically because Purdue has historically done well against the Hawkeyes defense, particularly with their spread. I'm surprised to see as much rushing yards as I'm seeing for them, but they seem to be trying to keep it more well balanced with the O'Connell slinging the ball around. So, give me 2 keys to the game and the final score.
The keys of the game are going to be turnovers, right? That turnovers, and for our defense, that's going to be, I should say, for Iowa, that's going to be paramount, because this offense they're high octane, they're ready to rock and roll, and we need some tips and overthrows. We need some pressures to get a turnover on defense so that we can give our offense an opportunity to go down and score. Right, we definitely need that. And then the other one's going to be our offensive line play on the offensive side. Right, getting that offensive line out there to actually hit these guys, actually create some lanes for a running back and create a pocket for our quarterback. And it's still Spencer, right? These are still all right. I know we train running backs in, but we don't do that to quarterbacks. It's all good. So we're looking at our offensive line play, making sure those guys grow up a little bit. I'm hoping with the talent that they faced the first part of the season, that as they get into the later part of the season, they have grown up a little bit, or a lot, and they're going to be able to have their fits and handle these pressures and defense linemen that are out there. What are you seeing?
I would say two keys to the game. I agree with you in terms of the offensive line. Offense has to maintain drives. It's going to take the offensive line to take over the game to do so. Creating opportunities for the running backs, whoever's back in the backfield, taking the ball, taking a handoff. It's going to come down to those guys up front, obviously, being dominant. That's going to be the key to the offense and being able to sustain drives. And then how does the Hawkeye defense match up? Historically has not matched up very well against this Purdue offense. So how does Phil take it and tweak it and take away some of their best players? He got an opportunity to see Charlie Jones for a couple years in practice. Now he has to face him. So how does he game plan with a top-notch receiver, the leading receiver in the conference, like you mentioned earlier? How does he game plan for him, as well as all the playmakers that Purdue comes into the game with? So with that, man, I think that it's going to be a tough matchup. I'm going to give you 21-20 in favor of the Hawks, but it's going to be
21-20, huh?
going to be a tough one. Yeah.
I didn't give you my number, did I? Oh man, I got to do that. Okay. That's a good point. Ooh, I'm gonna go 24. Ooh, yeah. We're looking at like a 24-35.
In favor of?
Um, I would love to say the Hawks, but it looks like it's going to be Purdue. It's it's just faint. Oh man, that hurts me to say. I can't do it. No, I take that back. No. I take that back. 24-21. Iowa wins. We're going to do that. Come on.
All right.
I know there's Purdue 70% favors to win, but I can't go against my Hawks. It's kill. Forget the numbers. I can't.
Okay. Well, I don't mind. I don't mind taking the challenge. It is what it is. I feel 21-20 is the score, final score. Hawks come out with a dub. Aiden O'Connell throws about 3 interceptions, and the Hawkeye defense does a tremendous job of holding them to 1 score in the matchup. So we'll see how it turns out. That's how I feel about the game. This has been a tremendous show. Appreciate you guys for joining us. We'll see how this thing continues, man. We got 4 games left. I'm hoping that we can see these guys in the bowl game at the end of the season. You know how that goes. So, for David Porter, I'm Colin Cole. I appreciate y'all for joining us. Subscribe, all that good stuff. God bless and go Hawks.
Go Hawks.